Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Tired Dads Talk Talent and Tech. And yes, I did that in one go for the tongue tire. How are you, Jean-Marie? You good?
That's amazing. Hello, everyone. Hello, John. I'm great. It's good to be back on this show, and I'm very happy because we had such an amazing feedbacks from our last video. So thank you
Yeah.
to everybody who watched it, our sourcing special and the 7 guests. It was great. We had so much fun.
Yeah, it was so good.
I'm glad I didn't lose you during the video because it was a difficult time. We had technical issues, but yeah, we had an amazing time doing it. And thanks again to everybody.
Yeah, it's so good to be able to actually answer these questions and be put on the spot. So yeah, we appreciate that.
It was kind of tough.
I know, honestly, I was thinking
difficult.
exactly it. It was super tough. Some of the questions were just like, what? But so we are pre-recording these for the summer. We're going to do a shorter format just for the summer because with us taking different times off and we've got the kids and stuff like that. It's just going to be easier. Otherwise, we'll just have kids running around. We might have a special guest or two of our kids at some point on here, but at the moment, I don't think it's the priority. But we're pre-recording, so England could be the European champions. I know Jean-Marie doesn't care at all about football, but football could have come home. So if we have, yes, come on, England. I always knew it was going to happen. And if it hasn't, it was a really tough game. We were so close. So I can edit one of these out now for when it comes in.
I don't support a team, but I support my friends. So I will be happy if you can be happy.
Oh dear. I've got something for you to talk about, Jean-Marie.
Okay, well, what do you want to talk about today?
I want to talk about the perception of TA. Ooh. And this is something that I had in the back of my mind for a long time, but the person that really brought this up for me was Katrina Collier. She's actually about to launch her new book, which is called Reboot Hiring, I think, and you can get it in loads of on anywhere you want to get it to. Just go to her website. But it's the fact TAs generally, TA teams are not seen or perceived as real professionals. I have this feeling. And if you're one of the people listening and you're saying, no, that's not me, you are a minority, really. There's problems everywhere. I see so many problems in TA. I just think it's broken. I really believe it's broken. And I'm just like, what do we do to fix it? So I just don't know if you have the same perception as like me, or have the same filter as me, or do I have like this like mini filter and I'm just seeing all the bad stuff?
Yeah, it's difficult to discuss that. Super interesting topic. It's very difficult to discuss that without looking like you are the bringer of bad news. I say, is TA broken? But I would go further. That hasn't even been. Did it work yet? Once? No, I mean, from the different point of view that you could take, if you take it, for example, from the point of view of a candidate, TA never worked. Not really, because in terms of candidate experience, candidates were just suffering the experience that the companies would be okay to give them.
Yeah.
Then when the market got a bit more difficult for the companies, candidate experience became important. But let's be honest, candidate experience became a topic just because companies didn't have a choice. Sorry. Some companies said, yeah, it's important, but if it became something on the market, it's because the market pushed them to. And I think that the problem with TA is the same. The only times when TA got better, I mean, not individual contribution, not talking about people, not talking about teams, but the only times TA got globally better, like at market level, was during the toughest time. Because when it's tough to hire, you need to get better. And at the moment, the market is not as high as it used to be like 2 or 3 years ago. And so I understand why you would think that at some point it seems broken, because it's, on some point, it could seem that it's not as good as it used to be.
I get that. But I think so I posted on LinkedIn this week that I think that one of the problems is there's a big skills gap. I think that I harp on about this a lot, but I think there is a low barrier to entry into recruitment. I benefited from this because I didn't go to university. So it's one of the, it was great for me in terms of an enabler. But I feel like you have some unbelievable, exceptional people in the TA space, and then you can have other people at the other end that are just not. And I don't feel like there's a standardized level. There isn't enough training. You look at the HR training you do. It's the CIPD. There's about like 30 seconds of how to do recruitment in it, right? I exaggerate, but it's a very small proportion of the overall course. And it just, again, it minimizes the role, I think, because there isn't anything out there that's really addressing it.
You are 100% right. And you know what? I can see that, I'm teaching recruitment at the Sorbonne University, both at license level and master's degree. And the issue I can see, I'm looking to do that because we have a good bunch of hours to spend together during these 2 years. But I can see that the problem is most people learn recruitment through their first internships, and because we think that because anybody can do recruitment, we're thinking that it's easy, and we let people learn it along the way. But they learn it while doing. When you do the first internship, usually it's not the best task that you do. Like you keep scrolling LinkedIn. If you're doing sourcing, you don't have a focus on dealing with the hiring managers as often as you could. So you might take bad habits when you learn it if you don't have a proper training along the way.
Yeah, the point of that as well, you just reminded me, is that the hiring managers think, not all, but I'm going to say it, hiring managers think they know best. How many times do you hear saying, oh yeah, why haven't you got more candidates for me? And you've got like 12 live jobs where each of the 7 hiring managers wanted them to start yesterday, and they only told you on the Monday, and it's now Tuesday. So they start going on the tools that you're looking for. Oh, and when they suggest profiles to you, they haven't checked if they're even available, and they've managed to increase the salary by 20k a year. So of course they're going to find people. So anyway, my point is, I'm writing a little mini series about this at the moment on my Substack. So each Friday, I'm writing a small snippet about the hiring managers, like they are a part of the problem, and what do we need to do better. And then there's different bits. This week was about understanding the right tech stack to use and picking the wrong tech stack, what impacts and implications that has. So each week I'm trying to focus on all these different things, and hopefully at the end we can come up with some good ways to help change the perception. But it's I'm worried it's not going to be a very easy thing to do.
No, but it's good to address this topic, and thank you for sharing that. So we'll put the link to your newsletter, your Substack newsletter, in the comments and the description of the video.
And you've changed your format of your newsletter, right, for the summer?
Yeah. For the summer, so the Work Me Tender newsletter has changed format. It's a summer special short. Well, thing is, I want to keep sharing content with you, but it will be on a lighter note, not as serious, but still, I think it's better to keep the serious stuff for when we will have the mind to it. So for 7 specials coming over, the first one actually started last Friday. So and you will have some pieces of content dedicated. Well, actually, if you're interested reading, I think that reading a good book is better than a newsletter for the summer. That's why I gave a few summer reads. Did you have a look at it, by the way?
I did have a look at it, and I did suggest, I like your sourcing or focus music for Spotify playlist that you added.
Sourcing playlist. Yeah.
I added a non-acoustic song. I added a cheeky Elton John number on there. Get a bit of Britishness.
I will listen to that. Yeah. So, well, let me share with you a couple of the reading ideas, maybe for our viewers. So, if we were to talk about something related to recruitment, we are talking about hiring managers and how they know best. Well, there's a book from someone I love. Have you ever heard of Olivier Sibony? He's a French guy, but he's writing in English as well. He's a professor of management, but he's a kind of guy who is not a psychologist, but who is interested in the studies of work psychology. And it's funny because a lot of the time, I love the books about psychology that are written by people who are coming from other fields. Maybe because they are bringing interpretation that are related to the workforce and the office, kind of what I'm trying to do at my level, trying to make all these studies and research work in the day to day. And so he wrote tons of good books. And the one I'm recommending is You're About to Make a Terrible Mistake. That's the book title. And the idea behind that is exploring different cognitive bias and showing examples, real life examples of what happens in companies. Like, for example, how do you make decisions in a management committee? How do you make decisions when it's coming about when we're talking about recruitment? So I would suggest this one for a serious read, but still funny read. And if you don't want to hear about recruitment, well, I have another one for you, which is a bit different. Let me choose one. Oh, this one is great. It's Anything You Want from Derek Sivers. It's a very, very short. Actually, I can show you the book. So, so you're about to make a terrible mistake. Here's here. It's in French.
We go.
Les comètes une terrible erreur. Yeah. Just hold on.
Whilst you're looking for the book, there is another one. Oh, go on, you got it. Okay.
So Anything You Want by Derek Sivers. So it's the story of a guy who launched a business just because he wanted to help people. So he didn't intend to start the business, and he kept high client services mentality in everything he did. Sorry, and it's very interesting. Very short read, like a very short book, good for an afternoon on the beach. So here you go. You had a recommendation too?
Yeah, it was just because you were talking about a French guy writing in English as well. Reinventing Organizations by Frédéric Leroy. How do you pronounce his name?
Heard about it, but didn't read it yet. What's good about it?
Frédéric Laloux. Laloux. I don't know how to pronounce that.
We'll put some links.
But basically this one. But do not pick the full version. Pick the picture version. It is much easier to pick the child version of this because it is bloody difficult to follow. No, I'm joking. But the otherwise it's like tiny text, and like I sometimes have the attention span of a gnat. So for me this is perfect. But it is really, really good, and it's all talking about how companies and organizations and groups function. So you have like different colors represent different types of organizations, and how the military and gangs work versus how high functioning performant like doctor groups and surgeries work and stuff. Very, very, very interesting. There was one thing that I wanted to talk to you about. Well, we don't have to go into it today, but it's like I love bringing different things to you. Have you ever heard of a Chinese parliament meeting? See, I love my little geeky read stuff. I am a bit of a fanboy for special forces, like, in the military, because I just find the whole thing, it's like the elite of the elite of the elite performing beyond things that you can even imagine, right? And I'm just in awe of this because, like, I know I'm nowhere near this, right? And I just like, wow. For me, they're like superhumans. And when you listen to them talk when they've left this, they're just incredible people, and they have great mindsets, And but there's this thing called the Chinese Parliament, and it's all about how they have collaborative discussions, no matter what rank they are. So everybody has a voice, and the whole thing, it comes from being able to communicate in like chaotic situations. And I love this because I think we could apply this to startups so easily. But we'll have to go into that another time. I'll have to show you some stuff about this.
I'd like to dig into this. Yeah,
it's very cool.
And by the way, as we're talking about your interest, what about your last podcast? Because I didn't listen to it yet.
Yeah, no. To be fair, I only really published it today because I said I was going to publish it on Thursday, like I normally do. But there was Recfest yesterday in the UK, so I thought there's no point pushing it out yesterday.
Okay. So who was your guest, and could you like give me like a
Of course.
Quick insights about it.
Yeah. I'll give
What
you.
can we learn in this
I actually wrote
podcast?
some notes down about it because I wanted to make sure I take some good points. So basically, I spoke to Vicky Saunders, and she has a company called the EVP. What is it called? EVP Consultancy, and she is like an industry titan when it comes to employer branding and EVP, right? And she's just great. And I've listened to her speak a bunch of times, but I really want, people are asking the same types of questions, right? So now you know who she is, what she stands for. And I was like, right, I want to get under the skin a little bit. What is it that like irritates her? What's the thing that drives her? And I managed to eke out the geekiness in her, which I thought was great because, like, when we talk, it's all about papers and research and all of this type of stuff, right? And she was talking about like the emotional connection within employer branding, and how you have to tap into the employee's emotion, like how you get pride and belonging. Because if you can tap into that, that's going to resonate more when you're communicating your EVP than it would be just about, look how amazing we are. People don't really care about this. So it was all about this. And that's all. A lot of it comes from the neuroscience approach and research into this. Then she spoke about a thing called mirror neurons. Have you ever heard about these? Yeah, so for me, this was a new thing. So I love this because I'm learning in public. But effectively, it's about how you react when you perform an action and how you observe someone else performing the same action. And it's super, super interesting. But if you want to listen about this, like, crack on and have a listen
Definitely,
on the podcast.
that sounds like a great
Anyone.
listen. So
Yeah, it's super, super interesting. And the
I will
final thing
keep
was,
that
yeah, exactly. And the
after.
final thing was just about the strategic comms when you're doing organizational changes. So say, for example, you have to do a bunch of layoffs and stuff like that. How do you communicate effectively and frame it in the right way that's respectful to people who have left and all the people that are still here? So super, super interesting.
You know what? I've seen something on Twitter that was that made people talk. Did you see the last blog published by Intweets, the company?
No, I didn't see this.
Company that's doing accounting software, if I'm
No.
correct. They had to let people go, so they did. They're part of the company that did mass layoffs, unfortunately. And they published a blog post. I think it's been written by the CEO, and where he explains the status. And it's good that CEOs take part in explaining what's going on for the company, the reasons, the future. But there's been huge discussions about something he mentioned in the blog. He said, we significantly raised the bar on our expectations of employee performance, resulting in approximately more than 1,000 employees leaving the company who are not meeting expectations. Yeah, and that's terrible because, it's tough enough that you're letting more than 1,000 people go. You can't like fire on them and saying that they were not meeting expectation. I mean, so that's a very tough thing to say. And so a lot of people are calling this out because like that's not nice. That's not nice because if you're letting people go, it's better to help them get something new, but not like not lower their chances of getting something
I know it's
new.
good. You'll have to share this. I'd be interested to see this. We can share it for people to have a little look at.
Yeah, so we're just thinking of this when you mentioned that. It's fairly new, and I'm sure that this might be like this has to be like just a mistake or something like that they phrased it bad. The blog post is still online, but I expect that they would change it or maybe say something about that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and
tough times.
One other thing is we are looking for more guests. We actually have our first guest, who we are not telling you just yet, but she is a doctor. And it's very interesting in what she's doing. It's all to do with data. And soon we'll be announcing who she is. And she's going to be coming on the show, which is going to be great. So anybody that's interested in getting on, you're interested in data, TA, you want to just come on and have a chat with us, pick our brains, or you want to teach us something, please get in touch, write in the comments. Send us a message on LinkedIn, or if you got our email address, we'll put them in there. You can contact us for that. But I would love to wrap up with your fun fact of the week from your newsletter.
Yes. So I like to have some fun. Actually, you know what? I could share a couple of things. So first, there's one news that happened. It's not only recruitment related; it's more about workforce. But did you see what happened in Greece in terms of time of the workforce? Now, people can work up to 6 days a week, so it's paid overtime. They can choose to work 2 more hours a day if they don't want to work 6 days a week. It's not all companies. But for the companies who decide to, it can be an unilateral decision. So I just thought it was funny to let people know that's happening in our neighbor country in European Union, while us are talking about the 4 days of work week. It's kind of crazy, but that's not what I wanted to talk to you about. How I'm a bit annoyed with what we're saying about recruitment. That can echo to what we were saying about TA is broken. I see a lot of bad advices being advertised, a lot of bad practices. And when I'm saying bad, it's not like I have the whole truth. It's just I'm saying we know, thanks to science, experience, that things work best than others. And there are things that we know don't work at all. But still, people are trying to promote and sell stuff that we know doesn't work, and that we sometimes know that they are plainly lying to people. And I was wondering why it was working so much, because you could see, like, for example, of LinkedIn, people having hundreds or thousands of likes while promoting methods that are clearly not working. And there's a science behind that. It's called I'm digging into it. It's called the law of Brandolini. So basically, bad practices are easier to explain than the right ones. But
I wonder why that is, because they're not true. You don't have to.
Yeah, it's kind of intuitive when you think about it. Like it gets, the law is this one. It requires less energy to just tell a lie or give a fake information. It requires less energy to do that than the energy it requires for you to explain the right thing. Because the world is not it's a complex thing, lots of factors, lots of variables. Of course, you and I were trying to make it simpler, but at the same time, when you explain something, you need to take the time and you need to make the effort to think about it. And it's easy to just say whatever comes to your head. It's something else to make sure that you explain the things the way they are, or at least the way you think there's a probability there are, and mention it when you are not sure. And so it requires more energy, and it requires even more energy if you have to explain why something is a lie or why something is a bad practice. So this is the law of Brandolini. But why I wanted to mention it is I saw a recent study that showed that on social networks, the posts that share fake news or fake information receive, in average, 41% more shares, 45% more likes, and 44% more answers.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I think I'm going to try a test. I might test this myself.
Please don't. Please don't.
I want to do a test. I really want to do a test. Right. But I'll outline it in a post saying I'm going to do a test, and then I'll do it afterwards for the people that don't see it. I'm going to try it. Let's do it, and then we'll talk about it in a few weeks to see if it actually worked or not.
Okay,
this
if
is so bad.
Just play. But but that's crazy to think about that. So there are several explanations for that. Let's say that the people who have to sell something are always more prepared than the one who don't want to sell. Not saying that it's bad to sell. I'm selling services too, but it's kind of an easy. It's to think that if you need to sell, you need to find a compelling argument, even though this argument is not 100% true. And at the same time, HR people, they lack the time.
Yes.
I mean, they don't have time. They don't have the time and energy to check everything. So if someone comes to them and tells them something that, like, hey, I have a magic button and it's going to work.
They act in good faith, but the other person's done the due diligence of this. Exactly.
Yes. So I think you said that TA is broken when we started this conversation, and
we're ending it with TA is broken.
I think that if we need to wrap it, I think that, yes, there is much work, but hey, you know what? I'm confident that with time and the right amount of effort, TA will get better and better.
Yeah, I agree with you. We just need to work on it.
Well, anyway,
That was good fun. I
that
like
was
this shorter format. I mean, we're almost fully up to a long format, to be honest,
yeah.
but that was really, really good.
Yeah,
But
good talk.
yeah,
Happy to chat with you again,
yeah.
like every time. Is there anything else that we need to share, John?
No, I'm just
Oh,
oh,
we've been busy bees, and we didn't say it.
oh God, yes. Are we
Yes.
Yes, okay. We share a little bit.
Okay. So first, we wrapped our talent intelligence survey. So we asked the question how we wanted to know how people make better decisions thanks to data. We've wrapped it at the end of last week, and thanks a lot to everybody who answered. We got more than 200 answers, and even after cleaning the data, we still got more than 200 answers. So very solid answers, and people made it seriously. We have more than quarters of answers coming from chief people officers and head of talent acquisitions. So people who are asking themselves the right question about the data. So we are very happy, and we will share the results with you in an event. So all the people who answered to the survey will be invited to an event in Paris. We are narrowing down the date, but it will be
announced next week. Announced if you're watching this on a Tuesday, it'd be next week. So yeah, it'd be next Wednesday. We should be announcing everything.
You will have news from us, and then for all the people who can't come to a live event in Paris, we will do a second event online, which will be in English. In Paris, it will be in French, and online it will be in English. So that way, we're trying to present the results to everybody. And for those who didn't participate in the survey, there will be some time after that a white paper that we're working on to share everything with the community.
And if you want to, and if you want to follow this, you just have to go. We'll put the link in there, but it's just www.getpressage.com, and then you'll be able to put your email address in. You'll be able to follow that. But no, that was marvelous. Thank you again for everybody for listening, and thank you again for the great insight, Jean-Marie. Always a pleasure.
Well, thanks to you. Now I'm gonna go and listen to your podcast, by the way, because it seems very interesting. So
yeah, I think you'll like it. Honestly, Vicky, it's right up your street.
Okay, excellent. Thanks a lot. Thanks to everybody. Thank you, John. Have a very nice week, and talk to you soon.
See you later. Bye bye.